This is a velociraptor, or at least this is what you think it looks like. 6 feet tall, bare scaled skin, hunting in coordinated packs through a kitchen. That image comes from one movie. The real animal was discovered 70 years earlier, and it looked almost nothing like its Hollywood double. In 1923, a fossil collector named Peter Kaizen was working the flaming cliffs of Mongolia's Gobi Desert, part of an expedition led by the explorer Roy Chapman Andrews. Kaizen found a crushed skull and a single curved claw. The following year, paleontologist Henry Fairfield Osborn gave the animal a name, Velociraptor mongoliensis, Swift Caesar, from Mongolia. But Osborn's Velociraptor was small, about the size of a turkey, covered, as far as anyone could tell from bone alone, in nothing more dramatic than skin. For decades, it stayed a minor entry in dinosaur textbooks, a footnote, not a monster. In 1964, a paleontologist named John Ostrom was excavating in Montana when his team uncovered something that didn't match anything in the textbooks. A curved, sickle-shaped claw, nearly 5 inches long, clearly built for slashing rather than walking. He named the animal Deinonychus, terrible claw. 5 years later, in 1969, Ostrom published his full description, and he argued these animals weren't sluggish reptiles at all. They were fast, active hunters, closer in behavior to a bird of prey than a lizard. It became known as the dinosaur renaissance, the moment paleontology stopped imagining dinosaurs as slow and stupid. That new behavior is what made it into the movie decades later. The ferocity was borrowed from Ostrom's Deinonychus. The size wasn't. Even Deinonychus wasn't big enough. The production team scaled the animal up further still, well past anything Ostrom had actually described. The name, meanwhile, was borrowed from Osborn's much smaller animal entirely. What audiences got in 1993 was neither creature. It was a fictional hybrid, the frame of one raptor stretched past its own proportions, wearing the name of another, and the bare skin of neither. Then something strange happened. Around the same time the film was in production, a paleontologist named James Kirkland was digging in Utah and pulled a genuinely enormous dromaeosaurid claw out of the ground. A real animal, roughly 20 feet long and 6 feet tall, close to the exact size the production team had already built. Nobody had used his data. His fossil wasn't even formally named yet. The filmmakers had invented a size from nothing, and reality happened to catch up right behind them. Kirkland's animal became Utahraptor. Its species name, Ostromaeosaurus, is a tribute in part to John Ostrom, the same man whose 1969 paper started this whole story. Because in between those two discoveries, something else had already turned up in the Gobi that nobody in the movie's production seems to have used. In 1971, a Polish-Mongolian expedition uncovered a velociraptor and a protoceratops buried together, the raptor's claw driven into its prey's throat, the protoceratops' beak clamped on the raptor's arm. Paleontologists think a collapsing sand dune likely killed them both mid-fight, sealing the moment in place for 80 million years. It's one of the most famous fossils in the world. It shows exactly how Velociraptor hunted. It says nothing at all about what its skin looked like. The question of skin versus feathers stayed open for another 36 years. Related fossils in China had started turning up with feather impressions preserved in fine volcanic ash, and scientists suspected the whole family might be feathered. But suspicion isn't proof, and Velociraptor itself hadn't produced a single feather of its own. The proof came in 2007. A team led by paleontologist Alan Turner examined a Velociraptor forearm bone, catalogued as specimen IGM 100/981, sitting in a museum collection. Turner wasn't looking for feathers directly. Feathers almost never fossilize on their own. He was looking at the bone, specifically a row of small bumps running along the ulna. Those bumps are called quill knobs. In living birds, they're where the largest wing feathers anchor into the skeleton. Turkeys have them, vultures have them, and this velociraptor had them too, spaced almost exactly like a modern bird's. This wasn't an artist's guess anymore. It was direct skeletal evidence. Velociraptor had feathers, and probably substantial ones, running along its forearms.
Which raises an obvious question.
Why would a flightless, ground-bound predator need feathered wings it couldn't fly with? Nobody is entirely certain. The leading ideas involve display, attracting a mate, intimidating a rival, or brooding, sheltering eggs the way a modern bird sits on a nest. A few researchers think the wings may have helped with balance while pinning down prey. More than one of these could be true at once. What the fossil record confirms is only that the feathers were there, not exactly why. Put the corrections together and the modern Velociraptor looks almost nothing like it did in 1993. Take away the height, it never had it. Take away the bare reptilian skin, the bone says otherwise. What's left is smaller, feathered, and closer in spirit to a fast, flightless bird of prey than to any movie monster. Paleo artists have spent the years since 2007 revising the image piece by piece, shrinking the frame, adding plumage along the arms and tail, softening a reptilian scowl into something closer to a hawk. Some details are still debated, since not every part of the skeleton preserves feather evidence the way that one forearm did. But on the core question, feathers or no feathers, the debate is over. It was settled by a row of bumps on a single bone, sitting in a drawer, waiting for someone to look at it the right way. This is our best current understanding of Velociraptor. Not the monster from the movie. Something stranger, smaller, and considerably more like a bird than anyone expected.